Welcome to the Life Self-Mastery Podcast, where we bring in entrepreneurs who have created online businesses and improved their lifestyles. Here's your host, Rohit Malhotra.
Hi everyone, this is Rohit from lifeselfmastery.com, and today we have Anne and Mark Lackey, who got their start into real estate investing. Today, they own and manage close to 40 residential properties in their own portfolio and manage 225 rentals. In 2015, they decided to stop working harder and not smarter, and they embarked on the newest business, which is Hire Smart VAs.com, which helps business owners scale by providing top-notch virtual employees. Since then, they have transformed over 60 businesses from chaos and overwhelm to calm, well-run businesses making higher profits. The team dynamic contributes dramatically to the ability to scale and grow multiple businesses. Anne and Mark love to educate others on how to scale and create business processes, sharing the passion through seminars, webinars, podcasts, and their live radio show, the REI Hour in Atlanta. Welcome to the show, Anne and Mark.
Thank you so much for having us, Rohit.
Thank you. We appreciate being with you today.
Awesome. So can you share your journey on how you got your start into businesses and what made you work together as a couple?
So this is a great story. So we started about 19 years ago. We were commission sales reps, and we had a community of people that we networked with and passed information and leads to. In that particular year, two of our friends ended up getting major illnesses. And so we became quickly aware that if you weren't working every day, your income was dramatically impacted. And so Mark and I said, there's got to be a different way to do this. And so we started looking for alternatives.
Because before that, we were working for our money, and we decided we needed to find a way to have our money working for us. And so, as Anne mentioned, we looked for alternatives.
And we got started in rental real estate. And like with most of our businesses, once we get good at one thing, people ask us to help them. And so that's how we got started with our property management business, our investment business, and ultimately Hire Smart. Hire Smart got started because we needed a way to scale and grow. And we became really good at it. And our friends, again, said, can you help us with that? And of course, we were happy to do it. So that's kind of our journey in a nutshell.
Awesome. What I'm saying, a lot of couples do start, buying their houses and get into real estate investing. Do you focus on a multi-family business, multi-family residential houses, or is it a single own homes? How did you get to start into real estate investing?
Yeah, that's a good question, because a lot of people have different areas that they focus on. And when we started, we had a primary focus to buy single-family rental homes. Okay. And we had a goal of buying 2 a year for 10 years to have 20 rental homes. And it was all focused on single-family because we always felt that those would be able to be sold if we needed to anybody out there. If I own multifamily, particularly the only person to buy would be an investor. And so our focus was to buying single-family residential homes.
Okay, and how did you make sure that cash flows were coming every month? Did you hire a VA at that time, or were you personally looking into into managing all the rentals from these single family?
So this is a funny story. So our first month in the business, we bought 4 properties because we figured if one was vacant and we only had one, we had to make up 100% of the difference in that, right? But if we had 4, the opportunity for 4 to be vacant all at the same time was probably statistically not correct, right? We figured at least if one was vacant, the other 3 would be filled.
So our cash flow for the 3 basically covered the 4th one at any point in time if we had a vacancy there.
The other thing that we did, though, is we started out, some of those properties that we bought had tenants already in them. And I think that gave us the confidence that we knew we had rent coming in that first day. So we help a lot of our clients with that process, right? So, buying tenant-occupied homes, while they are a little trickier, sometimes is a great way to get started and feel more confident that you're going to be able to have them rented. We didn't start managing for other people until we were licensed real estate agents and brokers here in the U.S. because here you have to have your brokerage license to manage property. So we weren't able to do that right away.
That was 4 or 5 years after we started buying for ourselves that we really started helping other people and managing other people's rentals. A friend of ours came to us and said, "Hey, you do a good job to manage your rentals. I've got a bunch of people that want to buy and they need property management." And that was the missing piece for investing. For people that want to invest outside of their area that they can't manage themselves, they need good, what we call it, boots on the ground. And they found in us, for the Atlanta market, great boots on the ground to help them manage their rental homes so they could be from investors from anywhere in the world.
Okay, and how did you get to deal flow? Were you buying properties in and around Atlanta?
Well, in that case, we were buying homes for ourselves, and then we had an agent come to us and said, "I've got people in California, in Europe, in India, all these different areas that have money they want to invest in Atlanta in this case." And she says, "I can find them homes if you can help me pick the right ones that will be good to put tenants in, and then y'all can manage them." So we had really a turnkey solution for investors. They had the money. We had the means to put them into properties and help them to make some decisions, and we were helping them find those properties and then managing them on an ongoing basis.
Okay, and how did you figure out the financing part? Were you totally focused on the banks to lend you for each home?
So in the beginning, because we were still working for a company, we were both in sales, outside sales, and we were able to qualify for mortgages, traditional mortgages, which of course is at the lowest rate, right? I mean, that made sense to us because we could qualify. Of course, now 19 years later, there's differences in lending practices, and so sometimes it can be a little bit more challenging. But we always say if you've got a quote W-2 job and you can get traditional financing, that is always going to be your cheapest money. As you mature in the business, you then have to look at different sources. You have to look at hard money, which means, somebody that has a business lending money at higher rates, or you look at private money, which are your friends and family that are willing to lend you money at a return. So there's different ways to do that. You also can do, sometimes you can find owner financing, which is also helpful. So there's lots of different ways to get around the money part if you know what to look for and what questions to ask.
It makes sense. You started Hire Smart VAs. So is how smart Hire Smart VAs different from Upwork or Toptal, which are online businesses?
So Hire Smart is basically a virtual staffing company. So what we do for our clients, and we help in all industries, but we help our clients find great top talent, mostly in the customer service roles. So we have a lot in real estate because clearly that's one of the areas that we are very successful in, but we also have others. But it generally revolves around customer service. So answering the lines of questions that are coming in. So it could be your receptionist line, or it could be calling customers back and for client satisfaction, or it could be administration. A lot of times, a lot of the businesses have a lot of paperwork that is, just kind of overwhelming to them. So we have a track for admin. We do a lot of executive admins, a lot of people that need, calendar management and scheduling and flight arrangements and things like that. So we place full-time dedicated people from the Philippines and match them with our U.S. clients here so that they can actually scale and grow. And we did it in our own business 4 years ago, and it was the best decision we ever made. And then 3.5 years ago, again, our friends said, "Hey, you're really good at this. Can you help us?" And so Hire Smart Virtual Assistants was born at that point.
Correct. I think Chris Tucker runs Virtual Staff Finder and a couple of more websites like onlinejobs.ph. I understand that Chris was there in Philippines, but how did you manage to get that high quality talent from Philippines to help you build Hire Smart VAs?
So that's a great question. Probably there's a lot of difference in that what we do and what some of the people that you mentioned do. So let's kind of drill down on that. So first of all, we have a Philippines staffing partner. So we have a business partner in the Philippines that does our boots on the ground there in the Philippines. But my background is HR and IT. So I take all of the years of experience. I have 20 years of experience in hiring and development. And I've been able to create a hiring process. We have a 10-point hiring process and screening process. So again, I'm the kind of person that runs by the numbers and wants to make sure that I have a result that is repeatable and duplicatable multiple times. And I have a 97% success rate in my placements. So that is a number that I'm very proud of. But it comes down to, again, having a very specific routine process that we follow every time to get our clients the very best candidates.
And those candidates go to work full time and they're dedicated to our clients. And that's pretty unique in the process of what we do is it's basically an employee alternative. If you've got somebody that needs to be replaced, if somebody's leaving or you're growing, you need a new employee. We're typically a great source for a business owner to come out and say, hey, I need somebody to answer my phones. I need sales support, whatever that administrative support that can be done on a phone and computer. And we provide them a dedicated, working for them on their platform, answering their phones person. And it has been a very, very successful process that we've done it with multiple businesses, multiple industries.
Got it. And how do you make sure that you get the really best VAs on board? Do you have a certain process on that?
Oh, absolutely. That's what I was just saying. We have a 10-point hiring process. It starts with, some basic skills assessments, which of course is always important. We use a software here in the States that Fortune 500 companies use to evaluate employees. And we've adapted that for our Filipino culture and for the differences there. But we do, we do personality testing, not just the DISC profile, but something that's a lot more rich than that. Again, basic skills assessment, technology assessment. I mean, we go through all of the things that would be important to our clients to make sure that we're giving them top talent. Then they also have to go through a round of interviews. It's usually 3 to 5 interviews before they'll ever even talk with a client.
Got it. Suppose if I hire a VA, how do I know that they're doing the work or not? Do you look at capturing the screen once in a while so that the manager would know that the VAs are doing the work or not?
Well, that's an interesting concept and debate. We have the ability to do it, but I want my clients to treat their virtual assistants like they would their internal staff. And most people, when I ask them, do you monitor your internal staff like that? They say no. We look at the results that they're producing. And I'm saying that's exactly how you determine if a virtual assistant is working effectively. We teach them how to manage the results.
And the time tracker software goes back to the concept of people that are doing data entry, because time tracker, you want to see pictures of the screen with it moving. So, they're on Excel line 42, then they're on line 67 and 82. The type of work we're doing is not just data entry. It's answering phone calls and responding to emails. So tracking the number of phone calls coming in, tracking the number of emails that are responded to, that's not something that time tracker software does. That's something that we have tabulations, just like you would for an employee. Oh, hey, employee, how many people did you take care of today? Oh, our customer service department took care of 75 people that came in the door. The same thing with the VAs. They track the number of people they take care of. It's all documented because all the phone calls are, in our case, we have those all recorded, and all the email exchanges are all there. So the tracking of the work is more through a set of KPIs, the key performance indicators, about how quickly they should get to phone calls and how quickly they should get to emails and how many they're answering and how many they're responding to per day. And that really is the telltale if somebody's working.
Got it. And how do you make money from this product? Is it a SaaS product? And how do you charge money from?
Oh, no, it's not a SaaS product because it's really not software as a service, right? We're doing human capital. And so we actually, like any staffing company, you make your margins on the spread between your cost of labor and your expenses and then your bill rate.
So in the front end, we have a recruiting and a training fee for those individuals. There's a cost for that. And once we find that individual and put them to work for a client of ours, they're billing 40 hours a week at a billing rate, and that income comes in that then our company has to pay for all the costs of that that virtual assistant that's working as that employee. And just like any other profitable company, you build in margins where you have some additional profit on top of that.
Got it. And how do you communicate with remote workers who are there in Philippines? Do you happen to have a physical office there, and you happen to go there physically, or how do you manage such a team over there?
So again, these are virtual employees. So we tell our clients to do what comes naturally to them. So if they like email, they'll do it via email. I prefer Skype. So we do a lot with Skype and video chat. Could be Zoom, like we're talking on now. It could be GoToMeeting. It really doesn't matter, or Google Hangouts. So I tell people, use whatever's comfortable for them to communicate. But 99% of my clients probably communicate in a format between Skype and email.
And our VAs they're not working in a call center, so it's not where a client of ours gets a different person to answer the phone every time it answers. This is a dedicated individual that's working in a home office that is then available to do any and all tasks that our client wants them to do. So if the phone's not ringing, they may have them doing some research projects, putting together some marketing piece. It could be anything that could be done there, and to fill those numbers of hours during the day as they're continuing to work.
Okay, and what's the biggest struggle in building such an asset, which is so different from real estate investing business?
You're talking about in building up Hire Smart?
Correct. Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge that we've had in this particular business is getting people to realize it's literally just like an employee just across the world. People have a hard time understanding that the world really is flat these days, and that because of the technology, this type of communication is now easily acceptable. I think people are a little nervous to think about it because of all the things that you just mentioned, like how am I going to communicate with them? How am I going to pay them? How do I know if they're working? All of these things that you just asked are the same questions that we have to talk about with our clients all the time. For us, having done it for 4 years, it's super simple, easy answers, right? But for somebody that's not familiar,
brand new to this, they have all those questions. So we actually wrote a book, The Ultimate Guide to Hiring a Virtual Assistant, that answers about 45, 50 of those questions like you're coming up with. And so the education of a potential client has been the toughest part. But once they figure it out and they've got it, they run with it, because they'll come to us initially like, I think I want somebody. They'll hire somebody and come back to us within days or weeks and say, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I need somebody else. How quickly can you get me another VA working because another department or some other group within their organization needs some additional employee help?
Okay, and you guys have built $2 million businesses. What does it take to work together as a couple to build successful businesses, and how do you divide what sort of work has to be done by which person?
So we were together for 19 years, and we are very happily married. We'll be celebrating our 21st anniversary later this week.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And I think the thing to our success is realizing that while we are very similar in a lot of ways, we have different strengths that we bring to the business. And so what we decided early on is that the parts of the business that I was really good at, I would have the full and complete autonomy and responsibility for. Not that we don't confer, because we certainly do, but ultimately, if there's a decision and we're not in 100% agreement, if it's my department, I get to make the final decision.
And if I enjoy it and I'm good at it, I get that responsibility. So we've divided up all the tasks, all the departments within all of our businesses. Again, like with Anne, if I'm responsible for a particular department, I have the final say-so. I may ask concurrence from Anne, or I may ask for feedback, but I'll make that decision, and we both know that each other is going to look out and have each other's back and take care of that so that we can feel comfortable with those decisions. So what comes out of that is I don't have to make every decision. Anne can make half of them. I can make half. We can get a lot more done that way than me having to brood over, get all the information and research something to decide what direction to go with.
Awesome. So what is the next big thing for you guys? Are you going to focus more on building Hire Smart VAs and keep building up your real estate business?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, real estate's a passion of ours that I don't think we'll ever drop, because we really love what it's done for us financially and for independence. But Hire Smart's where my passion lies. That's really kind of the thing that gets me excited to work every day. I love being able to match great talent with our clients. And I love the fact that, like, we just came back from a conference last week, and the number of clients that came up and said, "You've really impacted my life. You've really changed my life. I never thought that it would be possible for me to enjoy my business as much as I do now." That means a lot to me. And it's something I want to give to more people.
And true. And, I was on stage talking to about 900 business owners and telling them what we do, how we do, and how we've made decisions purposefully in our business to craft our business around our lifestyle. And I had dozens afterwards come to me and tell me how challenging that was and what it helped them to make some decisions. So just helping people like that is just really tremendous. I'm a true entrepreneur. Everywhere I go, I see something that I want to fix, I want to repair, I want to make better. And so I keep coming up with these new ideas. But Anne has told me we're not going to start any new business, at least for a while. So we're settling in on what we're doing right now, and we're moving forward with it alone with the businesses that we do have. So nothing new.
Okay, awesome. So let's quickly do the top three. What's your favorite business book?
Well, this all ties back. I read a book called The World is Flat by Thomas Friedman. It came out, I think, 2005, and it talked about how with the internet and the size of internet connection, things became flat in the world for communication. And we're now taking true advantage of that with virtual assistants working around the world for clients, 13 time zones away. And it's transparent to their clients when somebody answers the phone and transfers it halfway around the world and somebody else picks up in another office. It's just a really great book. I love it.
So I have, we read a lot. And so the most recent one, I won't give you my best, but I'll give you my most recent one, was called Radical Candor. And it's about how to manage teams and processes. And so that kind of really shifted my focus and how I can help my clients. So I'd have to say that one is probably the most recent one.
Sure, we'll put that in the show notes. If you could go back in time when you started your businesses, what is the one thing you would have focused on?
For me, it would have been about getting virtual assistants moving a little faster. So we got introduced to the concept, and it took 6 months for me to really kind of poke all the holes in it that I could before we started. I wish I would have started and just kind of made a dive in that direction a little bit faster, because it's had such a great impact on all of our businesses. And it's really kind of alleviated a lot of the stress. So if I had to go back in time, I think I wish I would have jumped on that bandwagon a little bit faster.
And for me, one thing that was really important when we first got started, we would do anything for everybody and anything. You know how you start a business, it's like you want to be everything to everybody.
Sure.
When we finally figured out our niche, when we finally narrowed down our niche in our businesses, any and all of them, and focused in that narrowest part, we were the most successful. So For us, it was about having what we call the prime directive and knowing that we're always focused on that in our business. And if we go away from that, it's going to cause confusion. So recognizing that early on was very important for me, and I believe for Anne.
Absolutely.
Okay. And what's your favorite online tool, for example, Gmail, Slack?
I think for me, actually, Skype, it has to be the number one because of the way I communicate and I'm able to get in touch with people so quickly. So Skype is probably my favorite one. I use it every day. For management of tasks and stuff, Asana and Trello are two others that I kind of like. But I'd have to say, I don't think I could live any more without Skype these days. I use it every day.
And I think the task management software Anne mentioned is probably key because we have in all of our businesses multiple things to manage, and it's how to integrate all that so that it all gets done.
Okay, and what's the best way people can reach out to you and know more about Hire Smart VAs?
So the best way is to go to our website, which is www.hiresmartvas.com. That's Hire Smart, V for virtual, A for assistance, plural.com. And for anybody that is interested, we certainly are happy to let them have our free book that we just literally launched last week. We haven't even, it's not even hot.
It's hot off the presses 7 days now.
So I don't even have a digital copy yet, but I will have it by the time we get to be online. And you will do that by going to hiresmartvas.com/guide, GUIDE. So hiresmartvas.com/guide.
Okay, thank you. We'll put that in the show notes. Thank you very much for your time, Anne and Mark. It was an absolute pleasure speaking to you guys.
Well,
thank you. It was a pleasure was ours.
And have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Life Self-Mastery Podcast, where we teach you how to start and grow your online business. For more information, visit Rohit's blog at www.lifeselfmastery.com.